Hello and welcome to the channel Gone with Gandalf, where I discuss Middle-earth and beyond. Today's video will be on the Maiar, powerful celestial beings of Tolkien's world. So to the question, what were they? Well, similar to the Valar, they were also of the Ainur, created by Eru Ilúvatar. They were just kind of the same, just not as powerful. So they too could have raiment or not. Depends how sneaky they were willing to be. It kind of gets useful to be able to change your appearance. We'll see that with one in particular, Sauron, if you've heard of him. Unlike the Valar though, which they were only 15 of them, we don't know quite how many Maiar there are. So there could be a lot, or there could be few, who knows. But otherwise they were disciples, if you like, workers, slaves of the Valar, and they each had their own discipline. As, say, if they were joined to Aule, they were then kind of into smithing as well. Not all the Maiar are named, but of the ones we know of, I'll start at the tippity top. So this is Eonwe, I think that's how you say it. And he is the banner bearer and herald of Manwë, biggest Manwë fan. And he is the best in arms on Arda, apparently. That includes Tulkas, who is just a wrestler, basically. He uses no weapons. And Eonwe would lead the hosts of the West into battle when there are no Valar present. Another one then is Ilmare. Again, you'll have to forgive me if I'm butchering these names. And she is the handmaid of Barda, and we don't know anything else apart from that. Anything else is purely speculation, so I'll leave it there. Then there are two salty sea dog Maiar, vassals of Ulmo, and they are Osse and Uinen. And Osse, he is the master of the shores of Middle-earth, and he likes to cause storms, and he's very unpredictable. So he's not tranquil. But Uinen is, and she likes to take care of all life in the waterways, and she can then calm the storms that are created by Osse. And one of the hardest working Maiar that we know of is Salma, and he made a horn for Ulmo, the Ulumuri. That's all we know. So, yeah. A real workhorse, though, was the Maiar known as Mairon, or rather he was actually known as Sauron, which was Quenya for the Abhorred. He had a load of other names as well that were equally nice. He was originally of Aule, so he made stuff, basically. But under the Dark Lord Melkor, he did a lot of shape-shifting, actually. He shape-shifted into a bat, into a wolf, and then later on he likes to shape-shift into very beautiful elves and whatever. That's like his thing. But yeah, he had a lot of power, second in command, so he did a lot of stuff. Bad stuff, but did a lot. On the other side, though, then you've got Olorin, and he liked the gardens of Lorien back in Valinor, but he learnt a lot of stuff from Nienna, and so he learnt some things about pity and endurance in Hope, so these were quite useful things for him later on. Of course, he was actually known Gandalf in the common tongue, and what we mostly know him as, and his real job basically was to counter Sauron on Middle-earth. So another Maiar that was supposed to be on the good side that comes to Middle-earth was Gurumo, or as we know him as Saruman. And he was also of Aule, similar to Sauron, but he ended up getting corrupted by just reading about the Rings of Power in the end. So, and then he kind of turned bad, made his own team, didn't join Sauron. And yeah, eventually he dies. Spoiler. There were a few other Maiar that come to Middle-earth that we know the names of, and they're not very talked about. They are Alatar and Pelando. I don't know why I put that kind of voice on for that, but they were the Blue Wizards, and they were of Orome's company, and they were kind of sent out to the east and never heard of again. So presumably they died. There's not a whole lot. It's kind of speculation, really. Carrying on with the theme of Maiar that don't really do a whole lot, there's Radagast, and he had a name which is on the screen there. I think you'd say Ivendil. Again, I'm not entirely sure. He was of Yavanna, and he was meant to look out for her creations, but he kind of did that and then kind of forgot to do more wizardy things and help out the world as a whole, if you like. The vessel, or the guardian of the vessel of the sun, as we know it, is Arien, and she was of Varna, and she was a fire spirit, and Melkor actually tried to seduce her to his side, like a lot of fire spirits did, but she did not, and she stayed, and she was actually the only one that could really do this, because the sun naturally burned everyone else, but not her, so good for her, and she took that job on. So we had the sun, now we've got the moon. We can kind of see it in the top left. It's kind of with the ship guy, and that is Dilion. I think that's how you say it. Again, I'm sorry, but he was of Orome's company. He really liked silver, so he really wanted to take this job on, and also good that he was a hunter, because he got attacked by dark spirits of Melkor when he saw the moon rise in the sky for the first time, but he won, so don't worry about that. Then we have Melian, and she was of Varna and Este, the garden dwellers of old Valinor, and the birds sang in her presence, blah blah blah. She's great. And then she marries an elf, one of the kings of the Teleri, and she plays a side part in the Silmarillion stories, but of her, one of the greatest storylines emerges, and her bloodline is a key part. Sorry, my voice just broke. Her bloodline is a key part in Lord of the Rings, and one of the few Ainur to actually stay long in Middle-earth. So now moving on to the more speculative ideas. Thorondor, here shown presumably, is the king of the great eagles of Manwë, just as it says there, and these eagles, they had a real affinity with Manwë, and not only that, they could speak, and also they were incredibly large, like 50-meter wingspan or something like that, and it kind of begs the question, well, they're not really just eagles. The fact they can speak as well, is there a possibility that this is a Maiar with that has taken on this kind of raiment, as they can all swap forms, what have you? So really a similar sort of argument for the dragons, and Morgoth made the dragons himself, but obviously he can't make life of his own, so everything has been twisted from the original, and so these dragons, they could have been maybe some of the Maiar that he brought over to his side, promised them glory or power, whatever he said to them, and gave them this new form and new power. Perhaps the more obvious choice there would be the Balrogs or the Valar, and Gothmog was their head, and he was the general, the high general, if you like, captain general, is that what you'd call him? Anyway, he was the leader of the armies of Morgoth, and Melkor, the same person, Melkor, Morgoth, and they were very powerful. They weren't maybe quite as big in the books, but we don't really know. But there's the suggestion that they were Maiar that came over to his side. And then finally there is Ungoliant, who was this big ass spider, Shelob's mother. I'm not entirely sure, this is just off the top of my head, but certainly Shelob's ancestor. It was a very large spider said to come out of the void somewhere. Now this could have just been something that was made with as like one of the beasts that roamed the world, or it was a Maiar that was one of Melkor's buddies, you know, that just took this very odd form. So there we have it. That is the rundown of all the Maiar that are known by name, and with a few extras really shoved in there. My next video, I think I'll probably just talk about what Arda, the world, kind of looks like, because I talk about it, and maybe if you don't know about the books, then it might be difficult to visualize it all. So, but for now, I hope you enjoyed the video. This has been Gone with Gandalf. Good day.